The way you're responding to your dog's barking, lunging, and just generally speaking, meltdowns on leash might be taking them from reactive to actual aggression. After professionally training and rehabilitating over 1,000 reactive and aggressive dogs, I've pinpointed down 3 common mistakes that almost everybody is making that's pushing their dogs from reactivity to aggression. In this video, I'll show you exactly what those mistakes are and what you should do instead. So that way you can get control of your dog again and get back to enjoying calm walks. You've probably made the first mistake if you've ever said to yourself, to a friend, family member, or to a dog trainer, I know it's me. I know I'm the problem. My dog can sense that I'm anxious on our walks. Now, while this is fantastic self-awareness, and yes, you are definitely part of the problem, but it's very unlikely that your dog is smelling the stress from you, which they technically can do. So if you've had a very stressful day at work, you've got cortisol, stress hormones on your body, go inside, take a shower before you pet your dog, and it will help them just in general. You're not passing on your stress. But it's very unlikely that you see the cat, the dog, the kid, whatever it is that your dog gets reactive to, and your dog goes, you're stressed. I can tell that you're stressed. What's actually happening is it's kind of like a novice driver. When they get concerned, they start going really slow. They start putting on the brakes. They maybe even start tooting the horn, just lightly. Hey, everyone, I'm here. I'm nervous. And that in relation to what you're doing on your walks, all those signals, pumping the brakes, blowing the horn and all that, what most people do is they start to slowly apply the brakes, which is your pace and the leash. Almost everybody starts to do this. They pull the dog closer to them. They pull up on the leash, and that, all those little signals right there start to clue into the dog, because every time you do that, something pops out of the blue, something happens, and they start to get this restraint on them, and they know it's coming. So what should you do instead? Let me show you. Rather than slightly pulling up on the leash, cueing your dog that something's about to show up, I like to do a reset. A reset is something that I coined the term of basically just walking backwards and then going forwards again, but quick, sharp movements, because we don't want to slowly apply the brakes. We want to abruptly pump the brakes, redirect the dog's attention back to us, change the whole direction that they're looking in, going from looking at the trigger or about to look at the trigger to back, focus on us, and then let's go again. Both directions with a bit of short, abrupt, precise pressure to interrupt, rather than pumping those brakes, ramping up the dog, pumping those brakes and ramping up the dog. We don't want that. That's like poking the bear, and we do not poke the bear, not intentionally anyway. When you do this reset, all you have to do is be very clear, say come, say heel when you want to go forward, or let's go. And keep your voice positive. You don't need to be mean in this situation. I know you're stressed, but it'll be way easier to deal with this situation if you use a positive tone. And if your dog's food motivated, of course you can use food, but do not feed your dog until you get past the trigger. Whatever it is that they get overexcited by, do not feed them until you get past that moment. Move past or something, right? Which she is. Hello. Everyone's doing training. Oh, cool. Well, you're doing a great job. Giving your dog a treat before they get past the trigger is like paying a contractor that's building your house before they even start construction. Trust me, don't do it. Pay them once they've started or completely finished the job, because they will screw off for a couple of weeks, just like your dog will eat the treat and go right back to the trigger. Pay afterwards. But if your dog can overpower you with the leash collar system that you're using right now, do not worry about food. You can just say good. If you've done lots of food training, saying good will release dopamine to get them past the trigger. Mistake number 2 is similar but opposite, and actually much worse than mistake number 1. Most humans wait to engage with their dog after they've already started to react. And then at that point, even if you're using a lot more pressure than you normally would be, your dog is already in crazy adrenaline and dopamine mode. So what's happening is those brakes, that pumping on the brakes like we were doing before, is just poking the bear. It's ramping them up more and pushing them closer to aggression. But then the question becomes, well, can I actually do anything once my dog's reacting at that reactive state? And the answer is yes, absolutely there is. But you're not going to achieve that without the right type of brakes and the right amount of pressure. You see, a lot of people have tried to correct their dog, but what you think is a correction, saying no, pulling on the leash, dragging your dog backwards, threatening that they won't have a birthday party this year, even though we both know they still will. They don't see it as a correction. You see it as a correction because you're a human who talks a lot. You're saying no, you're doing things that in that moment, the dog does not perceive them as a correction. In other situations, yes, it might be, but that's a type of breaks, a correction that works in other situations, not in this one. So we need a different kind of breaks. So to figure that out, we just need to look into our dog's life and say, what do they not like? And can I take that on the walk with me? The point of a correction is to communicate what you're doing is wrong, and I don't want you to do that in the future. Therefore, a correction is, I want to avoid a correction. When I see the cops coming, I pump the brakes myself. I go, yeah, don't correct me. I don't need a ticket right now. Your dog needs to think that way in order to avoid the behavior. Even if they're fearful, even if they're overwhelmed, the action of freaking out at other dogs, kids, people, cats is inappropriate. It's not acceptable. You don't need to act that way. And when you avoid acting that way, I'll give you steak when you don't react. But when you do, a correction needs to happen. For some dogs, that negative thing, those breaks that work, is as simple as getting sprayed with a bit of water. But not a mist, not like a gentle spray of toner. It's a stream. It's supposed to be water in the face, on the bum. Both those locations work beautifully for a lot of dogs. This works particularly well with dogs that don't like going out in the rain. Ironically, this dog right here, his name is Puddles, and he doesn't like going out in the rain. He holds his pee for days on end and walks around the things he's named after. In this clip, Puddles is about to see his arch nemesis, another pit bull that lives in the same apartment building as him. They both absolutely lose it the second they see him. I'm prepared here. I've got the water bottle. We're walking up, and look what happens.
Dogs in the building?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
He absolutely loses his shit over.
Yeah, okay. And did he see him yet?
I don't think so.
No, he hasn't.
He did now.
She's really nice.
Yes. So just walk towards that dog for a sec.
Okay. Keep walking?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's what stopped him.
What?
I sprayed him.
Oh, okay.
Good. Yep. Okay, turn around. Look at his demeanor now.
Much more.
Yeah.
Shit, what was that?
Yeah.
I don't like rain.
He actually hates her.
Boom, one little spray. And he goes, whoa, where did that come from? Now, once we understand for this dog, spraying with water gets him to stop reacting and will be more effective if we start before he reacts. As soon as you see them start to slow down, zone in, say no, and spray. Watch, he's going to slow right down. So right there, spray right there. I sprayed afterwards and it worked, but beforehand is always better. No, spray. Some dogs need a few sprays to drive the point home, but if your correction doesn't stop them or drastically change, like the big cue is where they're looking. If they don't break focus with the thing that they are looking at after 1 to kind of maximum 3 corrections, stop. You're just poking the bear. You are definitely making the situation worse. So this is why you want to try the thing. So spray, I want to see how much of a deterrent is this thing before we bring out a dog. Now this is a top 10 most reactive dog I've worked with. Super intense German Shepherd, working line.
Just bend down.
He's super attached to
Okay,
his
go,
mom, so I'm using her
Here,
as a
good.
distraction.
All right, good. Grab the dog and let's. No. Come on.
So it's still working. I can say no. Now that I know it works, I can say no and spray. But watch, as soon as the dog
No,
comes
Nico.
out,
Come.
slight annoyance. Spray, spray, spray.
Okay.
And then
So that's where we ditch that.
bail.
Okay, so you're gonna walk.
But you're going to have to try. You're going to have to try these corrections in order to see, is this helping or is this making it worse? Do I need to switch the kind of correction? Do I need to keep the correction the same and just add more of it? And then just, again, give yourself some grace. It's not going to be a smooth road. Your dog is acting like a monster truck out of control right now. Of course, it's not going to be super pretty in the beginning, but you will get there. You just need to play around with the type of brakes and the amount of pressure. All right, so I start using the e-collar here, but it's not changing his mind, so I quickly put it away and I go to a leash pop. Right there, 2 leash pops, he reacts to that and then doesn't care, is about to take me off my feet. He successfully dragged his owner across a parking lot to get to another dog. I don't want that to happen to me, so I give him a massive leash pop there. He reacts strongly to the correction, but then he stops. He stops reacting. But it's not really a sustainable thing for most people to do. For some dogs, that is a life-changing event, and they go, I'm not going to be reactive anymore. 1, 2 big leash pops when they blow up if you can't get them beforehand, and it's over. It's done. For this dog, where he's so desensitized to the prong collar already, it's not going to be sustainable. The timing, the strength needed, the physical pressure on the dog, I'm all for switching to a large amount of e-collar pressure, which is what we ended up doing. You'll be able to see it in another video. But for him, we got to switch to a different tool. So we switched to a gentle leader in the following video, and it's significantly better, reduced his reactivity, and he's able to be around other dogs like you see here. Okay, so let's imagine that you've successfully corrected your dog and they've stopped reacting, or they've significantly reduced the reaction. Mistake number 3 happens when you correct your dog. They stop, and then there's no follow-up direction. Think about it. Have you ever had somebody call out your name, or you think they did, and you turn around, you look, and they just look at you? They don't say anything? Okay, I guess I'll keep doing what I was doing. That's what your dog is going to do. Just remember this acronym, CAP. We're going to start with C. Let's say your dog sees another dog and they're about to react, or they react. Now that you know what correction works, you're going to say no. You don't have to holler, but be clear about it. Say no, then correct them. Step 2, the assist, is where you step in and you guide your dog. You redirect your dog. You get their attention and give them something better to do. My favorite thing, the reset. Just come. Let's go again. Now, let's go again might not be straight. We might turn. We might cross the road at that point. But I really want to give them something better to do. You can say sit. You can say down. But typically, they've got all this energy, and you just asking them to plunk that in one spot is very difficult. I've only really seen it super successful with dogs that are properly e-collar trained. I've got an e-collar course. There's a link in the description for that too. But even then, you've got all this energy and you want them to stay put. I'm a big fan of moving somewhere else. And then we're ready for P, the paycheck. Paying your dog with something that they love. Typically not affection, because a lot of dogs take that affection and they go, you need me to protect you? And so we don't need that. Paying them with food, paying with them with treats, paying them with, like, you get to go smell that bush or that thing over there, that dead seagull. They would love that. Don't roll around it. Please stop rolling around in it. Dead seagull flavored treats would crush the market. Following those 3 steps, you're not only training your dog and getting more engagement out of them, you're literally rewiring their brain to stop seeking dopamine and adrenaline and this cortisol rush of freaking out at whatever their trigger is. You're going to be training them to pay more attention to you, to get past the trigger in the future.
Good boy, no reaction.
Huge.
That's awesome.
But here's the thing about reactive dogs. It's not just training them when they're out in the real world. Dealing with and actually fixing a reactive dog happens before you ever leave the house. So just watch this video right here and I'll show you the 3 to 5 steps that you can take before you leave the house to have a calmer dog in general. And know that you're loved.